There once was a man named Gold Roger who was king of the pirates. He had fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. Before they hung him from the gallows, these were the final words he said.
Our perspective is yours for the taking, but you'll have to join us first. We left everything we debated at the Yonko table.
Ever since, pirates from all over the world set sail for the Grand Line, searching for the Yonko table, the table that will make their dreams come true.
Yo, folks. Welcome to the latest and the greatest from the Yonko table. That is the voice of Grandmaster Hoop coming at you from the cockpit of the giant Nowhere Head, because the Nowhere Head is a giant flying space station. That's no skull. That's a space station, because we're here to talk about Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That's right, folks. It is the third entry in the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and James Gunn and crew have enlightened us with a third outing with the team in what very much may be their last outing as this iteration of the team. It is the swan song, and we're here to discuss at the Yonko table. With me, as always, is Dr. Jace Attorney. Dr. Jace Attorney, I know you have your whatever with Marvel. Do you feel better after watching this movie? Did this movie re-energize you for what else Marvel has left in store for Phase 5?
But how did you know I had a problem with Marvel Phase 4 P1900? This movie was so good.
Whoa.
It was so good. We'll get into the nitty gritty of it, but holy hell, does it feel good to come out of a Marvel movie and just be ecstatic from top to bottom. Not just being like, oh, you know, it had one or two good moments here or there. No, top to bottom. I'm doing bottom up top of it. Top to bottom. Fantastic.
Sure. I can't say I disagree with you. There's a lot to love.
I love the movie. And I'm a Marvel hater, bro.
Yes. Let's
Damn
also
character
hear
introductions. They're here.
There are supernovas in the house, right? They couldn't wait till the introduction when we introduce who's here, but there are supernovas in the house. They're so excited to talk about this movie. You already heard it. There's Dr. Mondo. Dr. Mondo, what could you not wait for?
It was a great movie. Honestly, this was I freaking loved it. I enjoyed every minute of this movie. Like, as Dr. J said, top to bottom, amazing movie.
Sure.
Also, James Gunn, he did a great job here. And he's going to do a great job in things to come.
Maybe. Frisco, welcome back. This is your second time. This is your first Marvel outing with us. You might be in for something here. You might be in for a treat. How you feeling about this volume 3?
Very excited to be back. I will say off rip, I have my gripes with the movie, but overall,
there are gripes.
Thoroughly enjoyed it. I actually really enjoyed this movie, and like Dr. Jace was saying, it feels good to leave that theater feeling good about Marvel.
Finally, because not everyone likes Quantumania. Okay.
We are not sitting here doing the comparison just yet.
Grandmaster Who?
We're not doing that right now. Well, that could come later. Tangelo, we haven't heard from you in a while. Tangelo, were you excited to come join and talk about this film?
Yeah, well, I've been out for a little bit for school. It's good to hear everyone again. Yeah, I actually, my feelings are a little different, I think. I feel like it was good. I'm gonna say it was good, but it felt like there was so much and it was like overwhelming as a film. And the bigger cultural critique that I think I'll give about this is just I've been reflecting on this idea of like the spectacle of like capitalism and this idea that like Marvel can't really, I don't know. I just feel like no matter what Marvel does, they're going to push out something that's entertaining. right? Because they're just like they have so much means and production to just make something like quote decent. But I don't know. I think Guardians 2 was a lot more deeper and like more like I don't know, a lot of character development I feel like was happening there. Whereas this felt like more of just a really good, like it's still good. It's just like it was a really good like end for like this team of Guardians. But there's something that felt like it was a lot and didn't hit in the way that I kind of wish it did, like it did with like Volume 2. So that's I think my thoughts.
Ooh,
The quick,
you know,
quick and dirty thoughts.
I think I hear what
What?
you're saying, and I think it's gonna come out in our conversation. Because did anybody else watch Volume 1 and 2 today or this week prior to watching this movie?
No, I rewatched it for the tier list not too long ago, and that was it.
We did the tier list years ago.
We
That
did
was
the
in
tier list a year ago.
2021. We did the tier list.
Yeah,
It's 2023.
so like a year and some months.
It's more than a year, either way. So nobody did their homework.
No one was disgusting with this. No.
Okay, I did my homework.
Oh,
I
this is
had
your
time.
fifth time watching these movies.
Oh God, they're good movies. They're good movies. I think a lot of us came out of the theater saying best trilogy in MCU. Is that safe to say?
I feel like that's tough. I mean, I can see some people saying yes, this is. It's probably one of the more consistent ones, right? Out of everything.
I would say it's well.
I mean,
Yeah.
because what you have your Captain America, right?
Oh,
Which
yeah,
I mean,
that's-
it's a trilogy for now until the
Oh,
fourth one.
oh, damn! I guess you're right. Yeah.
You,
I would say it's
you have
between
your
Captain America and this
Spider-Man.
one.
Avengers, if you want to count the Endgame
There's
and
four.
Infinity. If you want to count Endgame and Infinity as part 1 and 2 of the same movie, if you
Oh.
want. But either way, we're getting a 5th and 6th one, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
None of these are trilogies at the end of the day. But I don't know. It's consistent. It's consistent. I'll give it that. There are my favorites in the trilogy. Like in my opinion, I think 2 is at the bottom for me.
Mm.
1 is in the middle. This one's at the top. That's just kind of where I'm at with the films. I know everyone's gonna have their own rankings for the trilogy, but probably the most consistent, I would say, out of all the Marvel films so far that are trilogies for now.
As far as clear-cut, clean trilogies, yeah, probably the most consistent. I think what you really have here, though, relax, Dr. Mondo, but James Gunn really does love these characters, loves this team, and I think this is probably what it comes down to. Someone who knows how to treat these characters with some respect, put some respect on their names, and from Volume 1 to Volume 3, I think it's been consistent is a good word to use. It has been a consistent journey. I'm sure there's some hiccups along the way, but I think he really enjoys these characters, and I think it shines. And I think also he has a formula with the Guardians films that he never breaks. I don't think he ever breaks it. If anything, he only adds to it. But for the most part, because we've seen some films in the MCU break kind of their shtick or their formula to varying degrees of success or non-success, and I think he, for the most part, sticks to his guns. See what I did there?
Wow. Yeah. Interesting.
And it's a winner. It's a winner. Nino Desplazado, late to the show but ready to go. Initial reaction coming out of the theater. Where do you stand? Volume 3.
I think it was a great entry. I definitely want to rewatch it. I definitely want to get a better grasp about what, this. I want to rewatch it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, maybe not in theaters, but I definitely am looking forward to seeing the conclusion again. I think he really did a great job.
Well said. Well said. Well, let's get into the nitty gritty of this. gosh, a conclusion almost at the beginning of a phase. It's weird placement, but here we are. This movie comes out with guns blazing. We barely get the time to keep up with the Guardians, but this film takes it. It launches you right off rip. What's going on? Rocket looks like he's going through his midlife crisis. Peter's still dealing with the fallout of Gamora, and Gamora's back. I think everybody else, their stories kind of trickle throughout. Drax and Mantis trying to find themselves, trying to find their purpose. And Nebula, she seems to be thriving as kind of this leader in nowhere and whatnot. Is this a good check-in for everyone? Did we feel like this is a good starting point and we get significant growth? Or does anybody feel anybody got the short end of the stick in this film?
I don't feel like a single one of them did.
Of the Guardians, no.
Yeah, of the main cast, I feel like everyone got enough.
I feel like Kraglin was just a little like
Which one's
on the
Kraglin?
side.
Kraglin, see, oh wow.
No, I don't know. You know how I am with names. You know how I am with names. Is Kraglin the one with the whistle?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
You
I
know
never
what I'm saying?
considered him like one of the Guardians.
He's a Guardian now. He's in the
I mean,
he's in
now
the
he
promo
is at the end, but like,
But I just feel like when they started the film, right? They have the shots of Guardians of the Galaxy. They're all walking with Peter drunk and Kraglin and
okay,
Cosmo
you're
on
right.
the side.
You're
And
right.
it's
No, he
like-
was.
What? That felt a little weirdly like. Just
It
on
was-
the side, you know.
Okay, I would lump in Kraglin with Warlock, Adam Warlock, in this
For me,
film as being like
Warlock.
undercooked in a way, like not a lot to do.
I don't think Kraglin needed to be cooked. I think Kraglin and Cosmo are Guardians, but they're like, y'all stay put over here.
B
Let the
tier.
big boys play. Yeah, B team. That's B team.
But Kraglin has always been that. Kraglin has always been like the side character.
Right.
And I'm fine with that.
Yeah. I'm good with that as well. I think they stepped up when they needed to at the end. And
Yeah.
that's what they're there for. The reserves. But Adam Warlock.
Yeah.
A new
Yeah, like I think that's my gripe.
Yeah.
I love his
That is
intro. His intro
His
was
intro's
really, really
amazing,
good.
But it's like you have a great intro and you're like, holy shit. Like it kind of sets the tone and expectations for you like of Adam Warlock. And like Adam Warlock doesn't deliver on like the expectations after that initial intro throughout the
Right.
movie. Because like
He's-
that
he's
intro
one- he's the
scene
one
with
that-
him is amazing.
He's the one that practically kicks off the main story because
Yeah, he kick-
were it
like-
not for him, they wouldn't need to go and find the stuff for Rocket, at the Orgo core. But Adam Warlock had a very strong intro, and I think we were talking with Frisco about this before we started. But the sound design in this film was really, really good. It almost makes me wish we. Dare I say, watch it in IMAX?
Whoa,
'Cause
wow.
this
That's a first.
film,
That's
this
a first.
film,
And it looked
It-
good too. The
it wa-
CGI looked good.
It was good. There was crunchiness in the punches and the kick and the bones cracking. We'll get to the rating of this film because I questioned PG-13.
They even said the F word in the
It's
first.
Marvel's first.
And I think we can say that I'm already hear Dr. Mondo saying it. This is the movie that shows you how to be comedic without sacrificing any of the edge.
Yes.
It is
Ooh.
the shtick
Thank
of
you.
James Gunn. I don't think any Guardians film has missed a beat with the balance of comedy, action, drama.
Yeah, no,
and
like
plot.
James Gunn knows how to balance comedy with everything else. He knows how to do it.
He does.
It's not for everybody. It's not
There-
for everybody.
And
Maybe it needs to be.
I just love that this movie has a moment where they like rip off the face of the High Evolutionary, and it's just his face,
Yeah.
like the Joker when he stapled it on in the comics of the New 52. And then in the same movie, would you believe me if I said in the same movie you had an Austin Powers reference? You'll kill us both. Not both.
And Toy Story in the same scene.
Stretch.
No,
No,
that was
absolutely
definitely Toy
not.
Story.
There was Toy Story and
Let
Austin
James Gunn
Powers.
come forward and say, "Yeah, that was a I'm trying to do a Buzz Lightyear moment." Let him come forth and say it. Did you eat a gum fruit today?
You know what? I said a bunch of things. You brought One Piece into the discussion, Grandmaster. Who this?
Listen,
this
I'm just
movie-
trying to talk about this film. I ain't trying to talk
Oh
about
no,
One Piece.
there was an art. I think James Gunn watches One Piece. There was an Arlong Park
Yep.
reference.
the whole walkout to the what do you call it, to the hallway.
Right,
Arlong Park.
right. Mhm.
Yep.
To the hallway
mean-
scene, where they fight. That cool choreographed scene with all the Guardians
Yeah.
while they're walking up to it. They do these shots where it's all of them. And what's that song that plays in Arlong Park for the first time? That theme?
Dun dun dun
Oh,
dun.
that-
Forsaken.
Dun dun dun. Yeah.
That was
Sure.
playing.
Okay, it wasn't, but he always. This is not new. There's a shot of everybody walking out in every film. There's always a slow-mo walk in these films. That's nothing new.
You got to read the subtext.
Nah, let's stick with this film right here. Adam Warlock knocks the door down. Whether you like him or not, he's here. Definitely.
I was gonna say, do you like the actor?
Will Poulter, I think Adam Warlock was fine. I think Will Poulter was fine. I think this is a crowded film. And when it serves as a conclusion, we're going to play with the main players more than we are going to play with the new entries.
But
Are you okay with that? With how they set him up, kind of in Guardians 2, where like he was the end credit scene where it's like, oh, he's coming for them. He's the big bad in the next Guardians.
I think there could have been a little more with him, just kind of as far as like just a tiny little more as like, why am I doing this? Why am I here? Versus, he got saved. They saved him at the end, and then he saves Quill. But I think there could have been just a little more and kind of maybe like dialogue between characters for him to really get that push. We knew he was gonna get that push, but I would have liked to seen one little dialogue moment with him and some of the characters to really kind of set him why he's here.
I don't know.
No,
I think he's easily one of the weakest parts of the film for me. He was
Sure, no, that's fine.
Like,
Yeah,
that whole
he
intro
is.
scene
I agree.
set him up to be like this big bad crazy villain, and then for the rest of the movie he was reduced to like comedic relief, and it was just rough. Was not a fan of that.
And it's not even it's not even that. It's just that, like, again, such a strong intro in the movie. Like when he comes in, it's like, holy shit. And kind of, I don't know, like the transition from him, being this killing machine, because he's a killing machine in the first scene of the movie, to like him kind of giving a fuck is, I don't know, like there wasn't like really much of a link there. It just like kind of happened. Although there's some points where they say it's like, oh, he's kind of like a child because you took him out of the pod early. Man, he wasn't acting like a child in that first scene.
yes, he was though. Like there was a moment where it's like, who hit me?
Oh no, that
Baby.
that
Yeah.
part. But I mean, like, yeah. But I don't know, like that like transition of his character from the killing machine to like, oh, okay, like I give a crap about life and all that kind of stuff. For me, it wasn't there, or maybe I didn't notice it, and then like, yeah, use them for comedic relief a lot of the times. That I was just like, but he's such a badass.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of jarring because like the sovereign mother she just dies You know, like she just she dies in the explosion for what's it called? Other Counter Earth. And that's it. It's just I thought it was a fake out
And
at first.
not only that, like it would have been, I don't know, like I was expecting after that happened that that's when he was like gonna turn like against the High Evolutionary, saying like almost a revenge. Like
I thought that was coming.
I
Right.
thought that was coming. I was saying like this is the trigger. This is the trigger that flips him to the other side. And it really didn't. He still attacked the guard. And I was like,
Yeah, I'm like, what's the
He's a little
purpose
kid.
now?
I mean, I thought he flew in there and he was gonna be like, wait, I'm not here to attack you, you know. But no, I guess he was.
But he's a little kid. Like everything throughout the movie, he was still like had the mind of like a 10-year-old child.
Listen, I'm fine with him. What I said before, I would have liked a little dialogue between him and some of the main characters, but I enjoy his presence.
Yeah, I think the thing is that people got their expectations wrong. Adam Warlock is not really a villain in the comics. He's not a hero, but he's not a villain either. You know, he's kind of this being that exists like outside of like morality. If I'm remembering correctly, and I think they're playing. The reason why I'm fine with him in this film is because it seems like they're playing the long game with him. Because he's a huge player in like Marvel like lore. He's a huge player. Like he wasn't. I don't think that they were ready to introduce him for the Infinity Saga.
Yeah.
Which in the comics he was
he plays a huge
his
role.
biggest role.
Yes. But he still is a huge player that I think will come into the fold as we continue on with, you know, phase 5 and 6. So
No, let's hope so. Oh, go ahead.
I could one thing I think was interesting as like a parallel for like Adam Warlock and like I don't know. I think I'm on the fence of like, well, I think it was fine. But I really liked how in some way though he really does kind of like parallel like Drax. And I think that's what was like even more powerful. Like that like when he goes, it's like why? It's like Drax who says that like everyone deserves a second chance. Because yeah, like both Drax too, you know what I'm saying? Like was this not really intelligent, kind of goofy guy, right? And then like Adam Warlock, I think, kind of does like the same thing to some degree, and can be likely the same thing in the future. And so,
I totally agree. Like even at the other post-credit scene, you can kind of see it. He is the second gen Drax to a certain degree. That he has like he's the powerhouse, but at the same time kind of childish and immature to a certain degree. So I do agree with that.
Adam Warlock, he's here to stay. I'm sure we'll see him again. We didn't get Adam Warlock will return or anything, but
there was only one character confirmed to return.
Right, weird. That was weird. But I guess, but that's not even the character worth talking about. This film belongs to a one. Oh wait, oh, God, I don't think I know it.
You don't know the code.
I don't know that.
Yeah, don't call him by that.
I want to call him by that. I am the High Evolutionary.
That's a little questionable. I'm just gonna say it. His name is Rocket.
P193. P193. Come here, P193. How did you know?
This is very cringe.
This
Fine. What would you like to call him?
Rocket. His name.
Rocket.
Like,
you could have said it cooler.
Dead naming.
No, you're dead naming him.
Not even dead naming him. You called him by the number that he was imprisoned with.
You could have given him the intro, but no, you just said Rocket. His name. You should have said it's Rocket Raccoon. This film belongs to Rocket Raccoon.
Was the marketing on point?
Yes.
Well,
absolutely.
I think so, but some of y'all over here thought he was gonna die.
You thought Groot was gonna die.
I didn't think anybody
I
was
said that
gonna die.
none were gonna die.
I
thought it was
remember
pretty
Dr. Mondo saying no one was gonna die.
I didn't have any expectations. That's what I definitely said.
Yeah, I thought he was just gonna die because they were giving so much emphasis to him, and it seemed like we were gonna get a backstory. And
You got backstory.
Which
yeah,
we did.
we did get backstory, and I'm glad that, and you know, James Gunn ended this film series without killing anyone, and he still ended it in a satisfying way. That's like, look at like the other like trilogies. There's only been like really successful, I don't even know. There's been probably like one truly successful trilogy in the MCU, or not successful. I mean, I'm talking about the finale.
No Way Home.
Yeah, No Way Home.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
even then, that's like gonna be a continuation, you know. But with this felt like a great finale. I thought it was gonna be a send off, but the good thing is that we went in. We didn't know what the High Evolutionary's role was in this film. We didn't know what the issue was. We didn't know any of that going into this film. We just knew we were gonna get Rocket and we were gonna get everyone back together. That's all we knew. We didn't know that there was gonna be some butthole in space that they had to enter. That we didn't know that.
Yeah, that looked like a butthole in space.
That really looked
Oh,
Orgo core. That was
Orgo
unsettling.
core. I was like,
y'all
that-
focus on the wrong.
I was
things.
looking over to Nino and I was like, what is that?
Would you like to quote Tiffany Haddish? That's a booty hole.
Girl,
Is that Tiffany Haddish that says that?
Yes.
Girl, that's a booty. Is that... Oh, I had no idea that was her.
Yes.
Oh
that's
my
Tiffany
god, that's so
Haddish.
funny. That is funny. I had no idea.
Yes. I mean, we got backstory. Did you like how they sprinkled his backstory throughout the whole film?
yes.
Yes.
Yes, I'll admit at
that was
first
so good.
I was kind of like I was kind of taken aback by it because I was like, oh, Rocket's gonna be like unconscious the entire ride, and it's just flashbacks. But I feel like the flashbacks, the longer they went on, I feel like they were coming in at the right time in the film, and the right flashback was occurring. I feel like they were going at a good pace to where it left, like, as soon as one ended, you're like, oh god, where is this gonna go? Because, like, you know, he's building friends with Lila and the walrus and Floor
Thieves and
Teeth.
Floor.
and
Stop.
Floor, and you're like,
Not.
he's never mentioned these three before. Something's gonna happen.
He's always mentioned Floor. Every time he looks down at the ground, he cries because he thinks about Floor.
Enough.
I've never caught that.
That's
No,
I don't know. The
It just-
flashbacks were the best part of this movie for me. And
they were
most
the
of-
best.
Yes.
Part. They were the best.
The
part.
most
The
emotional.
flash parts. The flashbacks were on point.
I don't think they were the best part of the movie. But I do think they were one of the strengths of the movie.
What did
The-
you think were the best parts were?
The
Well,
best part of the
Cosmo.
movie.
I'm kidding. No.
Cosmo. Oh, okay,
Cosmo.
one for Cosmo.
I'm a good dog.
I found Cosmo so cute and so funny. It's
Cosmo
like,
was funny.
I am a good dog. I am not a bad dog.
Honestly, I think the
God, that's so
resolution of
cute.
this movie worked as one of the best resolutions that we've seen in a while. I think that was probably the best parts of this movie. Like, there were just scenes where they were like resolving and wrapping up, and it felt earned, which is so hard to do. It felt like they grew. It felt slightly tragic. It felt it had multiple, it was layered like an onion.
Oh,
An onion.
interesting.
Well, let's talk about these layers. So, you know, let's stick on Rocket real quick. Rocket confronting the High Evolutionary, confronting death and Ready to Accept. How was that? I feel the flashbacks gave gravity to everything else going on in the film, to where when they did finally have that reunion, Was that an earned moment, kind of that, you know?
For me,
Yes,
I want to say
very.
the first time when Rocket first discovers that Project 89 was not going to be the one sent to.
They're gonna get incarcerated.
That
And,
hurt.
No,
he
I mean,
tries to
incinerated. Oh, God,
Incinerated,
incinerated.
right?
already
He tries to
incarcerated.
escape and save his friends. And first of all, I think that scene in general, when his friends die, maybe is a hot take. I don't know, but it's one of my favorite scenes in all of the MCU.
I was shocked.
And all of the
It was
MCs.
like that was
Favorite
like,
scene?
Breakdown
It was a
amazing,
great
I'm
scene.
shook.
perfect.
I mean,
The
that
strat-
kill shot with Lila. I at first I thought it was that kill switch thing that that's attached to their
Yes,
hearts. I thought he
yes.
like blew it up. But oh my, I wasn't thinking it was gonna happen there. I didn't think he
Right.
was gonna die.
and for him to lose his friends in that truly first encounter with the High Evolutionary, for them to end encounter for his friends to be the ones that help him defeat him, I think-
Oh,
It's poetic. Yes.
it's
It's-
poetic.
Yeah.
Oh god, it
So good.
rhymes.
Like
It
Poe.
rhymes.
I-
Like
I have to say, I think my favorite part of the films were like those two like team ups, like when everyone was together, like that hallway scene. So
The
good.
hallway.
And
money
then,
shots. The
and
money shots.
Yes.
then-
What
and
is
then
it?
the,
What is it with superhero movies and hallway scenes?
And the song choice for that scene was amazing.
Yeah.
You were
Oh,
saying,
and-
and
Guardians always gets the music right.
It was
You were
I
Wesley
just-
Till
saying,
Brooklyn,
and-
right?
Yeah,
It was. I just hate the fact that we also got No Sleep Till Brooklyn in the Mario
Well,
movie.
you see, one was
Did we?
genuine and one was just a cash in. There was
Sure.
a difference, a big difference.
exactly. You
I-
were
I-
saying, Ange.
Well, I was just saying, like, yeah, and then so the hallway scene, and then the last one where they're all like, they basically just like kill the High Evolutionary, and I thought it was interesting. It was Gamora that was the one that gave the final like stab at the end, because Gamora is kind of like this character who's like just like, ugh, I have to be like, I just have to do things with you all, and so I think it's interesting that like it wasn't Rocket who had the last. Well, I get that just because he had the choice of like doing the last shot, but. Yeah, that was interesting. Gamora was the one who did like the final stab in that moment,
I think it's important too that she got it as well, because she started off in this movie not really being part of the family. She was
She
just
didn't
kind of
understand it.
right. She was indifferent. But I feel like by the end of this, when she gives that final stab to the High Evolutionary, I feel like she understands why we're beating this guy's ass.
Yeah.
Like it means something to these people.
And I think the layer of tragedy with Gamora isn't that she doesn't understand like the idea of found family and the group dynamic.
right?
She doesn't understand their group dynamic, which is I think so much harder to hear sometimes.
Well, I think Gamora is probably. I really had a fun time with. I think this was Zoe Saldana's best Gamora outing.
I
Oh
don't
yeah, I think it's
Okay.
fun to watch her when everybody's screaming at you. Hey, you used to be a part of this. This was your family. This was you. And she's over here
God.
like, this is not me. That was a alternate version of me. And then
that scene where she pushes Peter against
Yeah.
the wall, that
Yeah.
that
That-
frustration felt real.
It's feminine rage. Like
No,
she-
and like I find that James Gunn has done such a good job. How, to a certain degree, like Nebula and Gamora just switched roles. Like,
yes. They,
Mm,
it-
you know what,
it's
yeah.
like it's almost like poetry.
well,
Right.
again, it's a very interesting watch because this idea of Nebula, her growth from the volume 1 to volume 3, I've loved Nebula's growth
yes.
throughout. I think it's one of the better character growths in all the MCU. But Nebula is not the one over here saying you got to come back. They need you. You've been a part of this. And I love that because Nebula understands kind of, this is my sister, but
Mhm.
she did not go through the trials
same
and
thing.
tribulations.
But
know?
also, remember this Nebula had 5 years away from everybody.
Yeah.
She
And
had
5 years with Rocket.
5 years with
When-
she's
when-
super close to
Oh,
Rocket. Yeah.
wow.
when
that's
she heard
right.
Rocket's voice and she started crying after the entire
Right.
movie, where
That's-
she's just been a little bit mean to everybody, it showed depth. Like she was just like,
Yeah, because like even like in Mantis see her and it's like, oh, like it's like Nebula in a certain way is the one that keeps her cool all the time, because there has to always be one that keeps their cool.
yeah,
Even in the worst of situations, she's the one that's carrying the weight.
yeah,
And like she knows that Peter's Peter's in a bad spot. Everyone's in a bad spot, and she has to take the weight. And
Well-
that's when Rocket like comes back. It's like a weight has been lifted from her shoulders.
Well,
and
it's just
she
like
pulls out.
for the mentioning of the 5 years, she already lost everybody before.
Yeah.
You know, she knows what that feels like. Rocket is the only one who she has never lost, and like Tangelo just said, that is who she had for 5 years and upgraded her arm. They had each other. They brought everybody back. They are truly. And I think again throughout these films, I believe in the bonds of the Guardians. Call it comedic relief, but I love Drax and Mantis as well.
Yeah,
A silly pairing, but
the chemistry between the characters, it's flawless, honestly.
and it was built
You know-
throughout the movies.
Right.
God,
Right.
that moment, it's so cliche, but I was like, damn, the moment when it was like, I didn't know you spoke the language, and he was like, you didn't ask. And I'm like, oh,
Joob
that was
Joob.
so
Okay,
good.
wait, but
And it's like
wait.
it's very cliche, but at the same time, that is such a Drax thing.
that is a Drax thing.
Yes,
It's very
and
Drax.
such a
We
Drax
gotta-
thing to do. And
I
that's why
really
it's funny.
and we gotta segue into the Drax section, because I feel like everything, even though his has been a much more subtle character arc throughout the movies, he took he was there, in part one, and he made decisions, and it ultimately ended up getting people hurt, and he had to make up for that. And part two, he kind of took a backseat because we had to deal with Peter's thing. But he still had the connection with Mantis and the connection with everyone else. But in this movie, everything came together with one line where everything started to make sense, because you had this interaction with the kids. You saw him being, very, paternal. And then Nebula goes to him at the end and says, Drax, you were never a destroyer.
You're a
You
dad.
were meant to be a dad.
Oh, beautiful.
Oh God, that
God.
was beautiful writing. It really, these MCU projects really have been showing, like masculinity in a way that isn't violent, especially when you look back at Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, and now you look at this film, and I really do think that it's such a good thing to see that we see someone who's just, big and buff, but he's also friendly. He's also kind. He's also honest, even to a fault, but it's not mean. It's not mean spirited.
Yeah.
I think that's beautiful. I honestly, and everything makes sense. They were playing a long game with him, and they did it.
They
Honestly,
had to
all the
conclude.
characters grew, and as you said, everything that happened at the end felt earned.
Did y'all understand the dancing of Drax?
Wasn't he
Like-
always mocking Groot for dancing?
Oh, dancing.
No, he wasn't mocking Groot. So
He used to say that he couldn't
Yeah.
dance, I think, in the beginning, like the first Guardian film.
Well,
And so
no-
then at the end, watching him dance is a very
Right.
full circle moment.
it's not
Especially
that
the
he
kids.
couldn't dance, it's that he only danced with his daughter and his wife. And since they died,
Oh, that's
that was the last time he danced. And so anytime he sees dancing, it reminds him of them. So when Groot would dance, like when he was Twig Groot, and Groot would not dance in front of Drax, so Drax wouldn't feel sad.
Damn.
layers,
layers.
layer
It
down,
comes full
down.
circle because now he has all these
Like-
kids.
Guardians is also a very like it is like lighthearted sometimes way of dealing with trauma because a lot of them are just dealing with trauma.
They're all misfits.
They're all dealing with
from-
trauma.
Is
Like
Right.
Guardians the one
like
true
Nebula was
onion of the
tortured,
MCU?
Rocket was tortured. Peter has freaking lost the love of his life.
And abandonment, and trying to be
Abandonment,
used as a
and, you know,
battery, abuse by your father.
Drax lost his entire family. And
Mantis was abused.
yeah,
technically,
like the entire trilogy is just them, dealing with their trauma. And this movie really is the culmination of them finally, okay, now like I've grown from this. They've gotten closure from that. And like Peter throughout the movie gets closure with the Gamora.
Gamora, yeah.
That was a good arc for Peter.
It really was
I
a
like
good
that.
arc.
I'm glad it didn't end in a
Drax-
way where it's like they fall in love again, and you
Oh
know,
yeah,
he
I
falls-
love that didn't happen.
Yeah,
Well-
because this is a shift that they've been making since the beginning of the MCU. Because if you look at a lot of early MCU, it was like a checklist that they had to make. Every male lead had to fall in love with someone by the end of the movie. There had to be a female in his arms, and they had to
Oh,
kiss at
Black
the
Widow.
end. and it just had to end. It had to end that way. It had to end that way. I'm glad that James Gunn is kind of seeing, I don't want to just retread the same story beats that I've already done. I think it's fairly obvious. Sure, they used to have their thing in the first movie and the second movie. We don't have to end it the same way. Even though you kind of see
Nope.
chemistry a little bit
There
towards
was
the end.
right. That's
there was
what
a moment.
good. There
And
was
that's all you
moments.
need.
It's like
That's all
there's
you
this
need.
respect. There's this respect between them, and like again, like Peter kind of comes to terms. It's like you are not the Gamora I fell in love with, but you're you are still like Gamora, and like a part of me is always going to to respect you and be there for you, but I know that you are not the woman I fell in love with. And he has accepted that. Like through the movie, he grows it, and then at the end he accepts it.
Yeah.
There's a running theme of running away from your problems and accepting what is for what it is. And Gamora too, I think she was very much running away from the idea that she could have been romantically involved. And I did really like that line at the end where she says, "I bet it was fun."
Yeah, that was a great line.
No, wait a minute. You did not do that line justice.
Okay, sorry.
She said, I bet we were fun.
Sure. Oh, much better.
It's
It
a
is
lot better. It's way
It
better.
actually is.
Oh,
yeah.
right. Yeah,
That's
it's great.
Ethan. That's an important.
It's a
Very.
Great.
distinction.
I
bet
said
it's
it was
not-
great. It needed to be
Yeah.
said. Thank you.
Yes, I'm glad it was said.
I'm glad
It's
too.
good.
Put that in
And-
your IMDb quotes.
It was just I think there was someone I watched a like YouTube essay about Guardians and like the evolution of them, specifically of like Peter and Gamora and relationship, and they described them as like two people that are insanely attracted to each other but are not ready to be in a relationship all throughout of the first two Guardians film and Infinity War. And then Infinity War was kind of like that capstone moment where they're like, no matter, like, I'm gonna be with you until the end, no matter what. And then of course, things
Tragedy.
go sideways. Yeah. And then now we're back in a very similar scenario, except the contexts are completely different. So it was really like he had to come to terms with like, I lost things, and that's been his story the entire time. I keep losing things, but he needs to come to terms with, I need to find a way to move past it. And again, like going back to the thing that I said before, Gamora's whole story, like it's not that she didn't get the idea of found family, she just didn't get the
That's-
Guardians.
Yeah.
Because when we see her with the Ravagers at the end,
Like,
She has a
feels
found
like
family.
That's her family.
yes, yeah,
Right.
that's her family, and everyone's happy to see her back and welcomes her, and with a warmness that she just doesn't feel with the Guardians.
It's literally a what if variant scenario. What if
Oh yeah.
Gamora joined the Ravagers versus the Guardians, and it's like a little too late. And it is she's not I don't want to call her a victim of circumstance, but yes, given the context, it's like Peter's gonna feel that more than her, and I think Peter's a great character. I enjoy Star-Lord throughout. And yeah, even his relationship with Rocket, you really feel it. And I
Yeah.
think where they left off in Volume 2, this also was a nice culmination of their friendship, their best friendship. Apparently.
Second.
Second.
No.
Or second best.
no.
Second.
I love that line. We hardly talk about Groot.
Groot
Bad
learned a
scene.
couple. Groot learned a couple of new words.
Oh my God! When he dropped that, no one was expecting that line.
No, not at all.
No, it would have been
love
very
you
funny
guys.
if he would have just said family, because it's Vin Diesel.
You know what?
Oh
I think,
no!
I think, no, that would have been perfect. I think if he
That
said
would've
that,
been
people would
so
have
funny.
lost it. People would have
Mm.
lost it.
But it wasn't. It was no. I think what he said was. I think I have to take a page out of Sam Raimi's book, where being authentic and being like authentic to the moment is more important than a cheap laugh. So I think that moment where it was just inauthentically like, "I love you guys,"
Yeah.
worked-
It was very touching because
Yeah.
it was so unexpected, yet it went so well, with the feeling of the scene. There was just like no one expected Groot to just literally say, "I love you guys." It was like, "Aw."
And it also shows that because remember, this Groot was their child, specifically
Yes.
Rocket and Peter's child.
Right?
were both
raised
the-
him.
Yeah,
they
were-
all had a hand, which
Yeah.
was that
Well,
that
They all
nice
raised them.
that nice scene with Gamora too, because he has a bond with Gamora, not that Gamora.
but he's
This
he's
the
a
whole
kid. Yeah,
you're right, and the whole movie, she's like, I get it, you're Groot.
yeah.
I like that gag.
But
I
she
like-
understood it at the end too.
She
Because-
understood it at the end.
Because Groot really sees Gamora as a mom. Like
Yes.
Gamora. Well,
She's a mother figure.
don't
She's
know.
a
he
mother.
was the
I
mother
don't know,
figure. Like he
Mom.
was the mother figure in Guardian, like when he was Kid Groot.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
Other Gamora.
She's like, somebody buckle in
I don't
Groot.
think. I don't think Groot. Yeah, I don't think Groot. To my opinion, I don't think Groot ever had like a mom. I think he had two dads, two very distinct dads, and everybody else was like an uncle or an aunt. That's what I think, because to me at least, it was like, daddy number one, the raccoon, daddy number two, the guy who tells me to get off my Game Boy. That's what I think like was going on in Groot's head.
If you go back and watch Volume 2, they all played a nice little
Yeah.
part in Groot's growing up. Go watch it again. You just watched it.
I
Now he's
I
buff
know I
Groot.
did. Yeah.
Where she's like, Groot, get behind something. And Groot's like, she's like, yes, hi.
That's funny.
Very nice. I think Mantis is probably the last one of the Guardians we really haven't talked about. I think Mantis, again, we hardly get her. We get her in Infinity War. Didn't most of y'all watch the holiday special?
Yeah.
Okay.
She had her big moment there. She had like a very big moment there.
Biggest moment, yeah, biggest character moment. I think I like her stepping up and like, kind of when she speaks up to Nebula. It's just like, he may be stupid, but he has a heart.
He's
You
the only
think I'm
one that doesn't
stupid?
hate himself.
Which is
And Nebula was
that's
like, dang.
that's
was
a
like,
that's
no,
a
like,
deep
she-
cut.
She
Yeah.
threw like
Yeah.
low blows. I was like, "Geez."
Well, but she's right. All
No,
of them
exactly.
really do have like a chip on the shoulder that
"Oh yeah,
right. I like that. She She called it out.
And he's
She-
the only. He's. Yeah, and I think, and that's why just quickly going back to Drax's story. I think that's why he was like the example that they all had to follow. You know what I mean? To heal.
Sure.
And I think that's why the ending works. Because
I dislike, though, I have to say,
Ooh.
Dislike who?
I disliked how they had the moment where Mantis just makes him forget that he said that, and then that's just it. You know what I'm saying? They just like move on, and I'm like, that felt a little like cheap, and like there was no like repercussion for that or anything. Where he's
Smooth.
like, oh, "You think I'm
Yeah.
stupid?" And then she just goes, "Forget." And then I was like, "Oh, I feel like that just felt a little like cheap and like not good of a character, if that makes sense." And I thought there'd be some follow up about that, but there wasn't. So I think that was interesting with Mantis in the film.
I think that's why they make a good brother and sister dynamic.
Is it a
'Cause-
brother and sister dynamic?
Yes, it is. It definitely is a
Yeah,
brother.
it's a
and
brother and
sister.
sister.
Wait, with Drax and
Mantis.
Mantis?
That's a brother and sister. Because Drax even said in the last movie, "I think you're absolutely disgusting. I would never want to be with someone like you, period." But he also feels like, "I need to protect you because I think you're kind and I care about you as a person." You know what I mean?
He also said in the movie, "I think you're beautiful."
When
At the very end during I just watched it today. He says at the very end during Yondu's funeral. But then he goes and says, "But only on the inside."
inside. Yeah, exactly.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I always
I
took it
don't-
as a little more. And then that tear at the end.
It was a brother and sister saying goodbye. Because and just how they mess with each other is very brother and sister.
Mess?
Yes, like how, what do you call it? Like how Mantis was just like, "You're deeply in love with him," and then he's like, "Ugh," like that was a very brother and sister moment where
They really do act like siblings.
Mhm.
Sure.
I
think there's
never
some
I never got
romantic
the other I
tension.
never got the other vibe.
I
Yeah.
think there's a little bit of romantic tension.
I
Why
got
are
the-
you shipping them?
I don't
someone's
think.
someone's been watching the oh, can't say that on this family friendly podcast. Moving on.
I have no idea what. Frisco, were you about to say something?
No, I was about to say I also got the romantic tension from those two. I see what you're saying, Grandmaster.
I'm not the only one. I'm not crazy. This is something people have been saying since
no
volume
one
2.
has said you're crazy.
You were
Crazy?
shipping Nebula and Peter earlier.
Oh God. Well,
I-
that was a funny little bit in the film.
Yeah. I think I complete jeez. There was a moment in the beginning of the film where I turned to Dr. Jason. I was like, I bet that they're gonna try and put them together in the film. I'm glad that they didn't.
Oh no, I
I'm
don't need them
very
to. No,
glad
no,
that
no.
they
Yeah,
didn't.
but
Very
I-
glad they didn't.
I'm glad when they did like even flirt with the idea. It was to show how far Peter has fallen into his despair. Where he even doesn't even get the right what do you call it? The right compliment for her. "I just never noticed how brown your eyes were.
How black your
How
eyes.
black
eyes
your
were.
eye.
My father pulled them out of my skull and
So
replaced
he picks a pretty pair.
It was a method of torture from my father.
Damn.
See, that one I think is more sibling like. I think Peter's kind of an ass, just likes to mess with her like that.
He wasn't doing it on purpose.
No, I think it was, that scene particular was just to show how far he's fallen. Because
But the comedic moments, even like in Peter's despair, they were pretty funny. Like when Peter's just like blurting his heart out, and then it's like, dude, you put this on an open line. And it's just like, this is
Oh,
disgusting.
right.
green goes to red, black goes
Like,
to
this is
blue.
intuitive.
Their comedy bits really sell me. I don't think did they miss on any jokes?
I don't think so.
I
They
I
were
don't think
they
they
were
did. I don't think they missed.
yeah,
There
there
wasn't
was a
a-
lot of cheesy stuff, but it worked. Like again, the my favorite part of the movie. You're gonna kill us both, not both.
I didn't think that was funny. I was like, "Oh, Peter, oh no."
That was funny.
Oh
It's
my
like, why
God.
are you dive bombing this random son? Just pull it out of his head and leave him be. He's like,
And then
and then he
he
flips.
went to the court.
Yeah, I feel he should have got some blowback from that too. I don't, but
And I
whatever.
also find like really stupid but funny. It's like they drive a freaking spaceship, but Nebula can't open a car door.
They don't have car doors. They have little
That's
Peter
funny.
can't
matches.
drive.
I'm
couldn't
pressing the
drive the car.
button. Okay.
I honestly found that like so stupid but so funny. It's like, what? It's like this is so simple compared to what you guys do on a daily basis.
It is a level of comedy that really works for these films. Open the
Yeah.
fucking door.
Quick side comment. I think that car scene was great, especially with the F-bomb. But
Yeah,
I think
like,
the
close the
F-bomb
fucking
should have
door.
been. I think the F-bomb should have been reserved for Rocket. I think it should have been his line.
Oh, you think Rocket should
Ooh.
have dropped
Should've
the
been-
potty mouth?
I don't know. I think in a film that was so centered around Rocket that like authentically, you know, he wasn't joking so much in this film. He was kind of like he was very somber, you know what I mean? In
Yeah,
this
no.
film?
Yeah.
So I think if they would have just added the F-bomb or gave him the F-bomb, it would have kind of diminished a lot of that, especially when all of the scenes that you had with Rocket, even if he was trying to be funny, there was like a layer of I'm trying
A
to say thank you.
melancholy.
Yes.
There was a lot of melancholy, even behind any snippet that Rocket said. There was like a hint of melancholy.
Mhm.
But I think we haven't talked about the villain.
Well, I was literally about to say the High Evolutionary.
I love that.
Real quick, has anybody watched Spider-Man Unlimited? Did anybody watch that show?
I watched a bit of it.
You know of it?
With the one that he gets trapped on
Counter Earth
Counter Earth. Yeah.
with the hybrid animals.
Yes.
I didn't put it together, but the High Evolutionary is the same villain in that show as this one. Deep Cut, Spider-Man Unlimited on Disney Plus, and he will be appearing in Across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Unlimited, not the High Evolutionary. High Evolutionary was fun. I know Dr. Jason and I and Dr. Mondo watched Peacemaker.
Oh, that
you-
was him.
Yeah.
Wow. I forgot.
Yes,
Yeah.
that is him. Goodness.
I
I'm
don't
good.
I don't remember his name, but I remember his face.
Let me try my best here. Chukwudi Uwuji.
Okay.
That's his real name. That's his real name.
I really like the High Evolutionary.
I
thought
do
it was
too.
Fantastic.
Like
Um,
he had his frightening, like he could be like
he was
just
terrifying.
monsters and
He was
terrifying, and like he was mad.
Right.
So he would have these moments of like this, very stoic, but very again stoic yet terrifying. That he could incinerate a being and be completely unfazed, just like, yeah, that's fine. And then you would see like these moments of madness where he would just like break down. It's like, how do you do this? It's like with Rocket and all that.
And
It was
you
like-
know-
it was.
and
I thought it
think
was
we have to
really
give him
good.
I think we have to give him credit as well because a lot of those scenes
Oh,
he was
he's
acting
working.
with like a puppet. Yeah, he was acting with like probably a ball with a stick on it. and-
Rocket has a stand-in. Always has a stand. Apparently, Linda Cardellini did her motion capture too, as the otter. Lila.
Oh, that's Linda Cardellini.
That's Linda Cardellini has 2 roles in the MCU now. Yep.
Who was she before?
So-
She's Hawkeye's wife.
Hawkeye's wife. So that makes
Oh.
her and Michelle Yeoh have two different two roles in
Correct.
the MCU.
Correct.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I think whenever you have a captor villain where the villain is obviously enslaving, anytime the characters feel, oh yeah, what do they call them? I forget what they call them. They don't call them the High Evolutionary, but whatever. They like wanted to be there. They thought they had a purpose. They felt they had a purpose. And I feel that energy from him where he's literally manipulating them, making them think one way, but then obviously he has his ulterior motives. That's a scary thing, and that's sometimes hard to portray. and dare I say, I don't think we've seen this type of character in the MCU, just where someone is like out here just trying to sway the masses one way, which in this case is just a bunch of animals. I like that. I like that. I saw an interview. He said, there's something very Shakespearean about the High Evolutionary. And I definitely got
Yeah.
Shakespearean.
He wears it on his sleeve. Did we ever see him before in the prior films?
No,
No.
no,
This is
this was
first-
the first time.
This is his first appearance.
I swear I thought we saw him before.
To
We
be
see-
honest, there's loose. They don't say the High Evolutionary in the other Guardian films, but they mention a little bit about Rocket and how it was a legal experimentation. I think even in the second one, the Sovereign also mentioned it a little bit, as far as we are all artificial beings. I would love to see how we reproduce archaic ways.
Yeah. And I also think that he kind of fills the same role as like the Collector and Jeff Goldblum. Whatever his name was,
The Grandmaster.
the Grandmaster. He kind of fills like a very similar role of like these people who play God or play close to God. It's also very funny that like in the Guardians films, like the villains are always people who want to be God, like
They have
want to
god
be-
complexes.
Yeah, they all do, because Ronan wanted to be
Ooh.
the destroyer. He wanted to be a god of destruction and destroy entire planets, like the things that a god would be able to do.
Go ahead. What's
And-
ego? What's ego? That's a tough
He goes,
one.
Oh, the living planet who wanted to just make everything him, and
Okay.
literally was obsessed with creation. And then you have the High Evolutionary, where he was just disappointed with creation. and wanted to-
He was upset with imperfection.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
different takes on the God complex.
They
Wow,
were all,
yeah.
they were all upset with imperfection. One of them thought Xandar was just imperfect because they were born, and so wipe them out. And the other two wanted to just put everything together how they wanted it.
I feel that's a great take. Really good. He said, "There is no God, so I'll step in." Ooh,
Yeah.
eat it up. Left no breadcrumbs.
No, like honestly, I would say like one of the MCU sometimes with villains, it's kind of hit or miss the way they portray villains. And here they really nailed it. They really nailed the villain here.
Seems like
that little peel back on his face at the very end.
didn't
that
think it was
was-
necessary, but it shows.
There were so many unnecessary scenes where you question the rating.
It just
the
it just
scratching
shows.
of his face off from Rocket.
or with that monkey. I think randomly scratched that one girl.
Yeah, what was that? Why
was
did
like,
the
"Damn,
monkey
poor
mess up
girl."
her face?
Then
Because
that
she-
monkey
he
was scared.
Yeah, the monkey was
Oh,
scared.
yeah.
I thought that was she's gonna get scarred for life, and that was played for comedic effects.
It was.
But they did the better. They did the best. What do you call it? They did the thing that needed to be done. They freed all of them.
Oh, I'm so
Freed
glad they
all.
saved those animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought Rocket was gonna leave them at first.
I was like, oh no, get everyone, not just the raccoons.
Yeah.
Well, I thought he
also
was
have to
crying
give
because
a
he was like, "I'm
shout-out.
sorry, I'm
I
sorry."
have to give
can't
I have
say
to
it."
give a shout out to who did the score. I'm gonna look them up. I sent Guardians of the Galaxy. I sent the
John Murphy.
John Murphy. And I sent the specific song. It's literally called "Who We Are," and that was the moment when Rocket saw the baby raccoons and opened the cage and Red Raccoon and like carried them out. That song in particular is a very good song that should belongs in a movie score.
Sure. I'll have to listen to it again, but I believe it.
I sent it.
It
to
was
you.
it was a very emotional scene. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that scene. But yeah, I think that High Evolutionary might be a hot take. Shout out to all the black actor villains.
Is he
over
better than Kang?
I don't know, because Kang's not done.
Nope. First outing. First
Or
outing.
is
Come
he?
on. Come
This is
on.
his only outing.
Or is
Okay,
he?
I know. So right there, right off rip, first intro to a villain.
I
better?
think the High Evolutionary.
Yes, it's better than Kang.
I think High Evolutionary edges it out, and again, not shitting on Kang, but also I think the writing in this movie is so much better than Ant-Man.
Yeah, I would say
It's
this
superior.
I
movie
think-
serves the High Evolutionary better than
Definitely.
Quantumanium did Kang.
100%.
Right.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you care about the people that you're writing about and you actually put villains with ideological standpoints that the hero has to fight against and are like ideologically opposed to, you'll actually get a good story. Who would have thought?
Well, I know. See, okay, what's
Only-
unfair about
if only Mid and Thunder knew that.
When
Now,
you
look, don't-
criticize mid,
listen,
you get this.
what
That's what's good.
what I think is the big difference as to why the Guardians films are much better is that I think James Gunn really does not care about what else is going on in the MCU.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ant-Man,
Wait,
Unless it's
wait.
his characters.
Yeah, unless
No,
it's
unless
also
it's his
because-
character.
Also because James Gunn knows how to tell a good story and how to portray it.
yes.
Okay,
yes.
you're saying that as if other directors can't. That's not true.
No, I'm
But
just
Quant-
saying that James Gunn knows how to do it.
But yes, but you when you say
I'm saying
that, you
that.
say it as if like, the Russo brothers, everybody can tell great stories with great characters. James Gunn is consistent because his stories though don't have this greater tie back. Quantumania, I'll just go ahead and throw it out there right now because it was the last film we had. Ant-Man had a nice formula. That formula went away because they said, you're going to play the setup. You have to set up Kang. Screw your formula. No Luis, no heist, no nothing. Set it up. James Gunn, I think he says, I'm not setting anything up except for this.
Yeah.
And that's why these films fare better than some other entries in the MCU.
And he still sets things up in his films because at the end of volume 1, or it's not really volume 1, at the end of the first Guardians of the Galaxy, they mention like heavily like, hey Peter, like you're not all that human, like there's something that we don't recognize in your bloodstream. What's going on there? And then in the end of volume 2, there's, what do you call it, the idea of Adam that gets dropped in as well. Like there
Yeah.
are things that were built upon, and also I think this is one of the first times in one of these movies that we see the Collector. I'm not sure, right? Or the first time we ever saw the Collector was in the
Collector
The-
appears at post credits, Thor: The Dark World, and then
yes, but he was properly introduced in a Guardians of the
In
Galaxy
Guardians.
movie.
correct.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
Sure.
Howard the Duck, he's been in I think all
Howard
of
the
the
He's
Duck.
been in all three.
he's been in all 3.
Yep.
Yep. Actually, shoot, the fact that Nowhere is kind of a prominent setting, I think it was really cool, and they outfitted it as a freaking cannon in a space station.
Mm.
I felt Nowhere was a character. I really like that. James Gunn says, I'm playing within this universe.
James Gunn has an idea, he has a plan, and he's going to execute it and screw anyone who tells him otherwise.
So, with the go ahead, Dr. Jace.
Oh no,
Oh.
no.
With the conclusion of this film, this is the disbanding of this team of Guardians. Are we okay seeing everyone go their separate ways? I think some of them are sticking
Totally
together,
fine.
but behind the scenes, Dave Bautista and Zoe said this is
Yeah.
the last time they're playing these characters.
I'm fine
I'm okay.
with them. Like
I'm
Drax
fine.
kind of had his moment, and I think he had the perfect line to send them off to. I think Gamora. I don't think we need to see any more of this Gamora because it won't be the same. It won't be the same. But I really want to see. I think Nebula's story can still be fleshed out. I feel like they're not done with Nebula. I know that Karen Gillan. I'm saying I know. I don't know anything. I think that Karen Gillan likes playing this role. I know, or I don't know. I think that the person who's the person who plays Mantis? I
Palm,
forget her name.
Palm. Just call her Palm. I don't know. Her
I
last
think
name
that
is.
Palm likes playing Mantis. They were both
Does.
seen together at a viewing, like literally tonight, I think, in California. So I think that they like playing, this each other. I don't think that they're done. Like I think Mantis is so heavily involved in Peter's story that I think that it's eventual they're gonna come back. Like if Peter's coming back, which we know he is, then I think those two are probably gonna come back.
What a weird thing to announce.
Yeah,
They have
I
to
mean,
do it at the end of every
Legendary
movie.
Star Lord is.
How would you not know?
You could have
that
just
they're
said
coming back?
the Guardians.
No, you can't
But-
do that because some of
they're
them are
a part
not
of the
coming
Guardians.
back.
He's not a part of the Guardians.
Why
anymore.
just say Star Lord?
Because he's the
legendary
main
star
one.
because it's supposed to juxtapose about the humble life that he's living, eating cereal and like catching up with his grandpa. So
I don't know.
it's a juxtaposition where it's like the legendary Star Lord and then you see him.
Or you know what also is nice? Oh yes, Tangelo, that is exactly what I was thinking. The whole thing about how he always wanted to be, I'm Star Lord, the legendary outlaw, and and now I
Now
think
he is, but
now he is right.
he doesn't have the emotional energy to deal with everyday life, much less be the legendary Star Lord.
I think he's ready to go mow some lawns. Are you excited for this new team, this new iteration?
So who's part
Yeah.
of the new team?
So you have Rocket leading the way,
Cosmo.
Cosmo,
Adam Warlock.
Adam Warlock, proper, Groot,
So now
Kraglin.
here's a question. Will is it his name Sean Gunn?
Sean Gunn, yep.
Yeah. Will he continue playing Kraglin if James Gunn is no longer working on these films? Because he's in a lot of James Gunn's like projects.
It's his brother.
Yeah. And
Oh wow.
he was, what do you call it? He was the licky thing, the licky raccoon thing.
The Weasel.
Yeah, the weasel in the Suicide Squad. That
Oh,
was
that
him
was
in motion
him?
capture. Yeah.
His he always gives him a role.
Yeah.
And he does the motion capture for
And
Rocket
he also
as well.
gave his wife a role in this movie.
His wife was in this
Who
film.
was she?
She got
Oh
shot.
wait. Was she the ball lady, the one with
Yes.
the intercom? Okay,
Yes,
That's her.
yes. And Gamora
Okay.
shot her. Yeah,
that was funny.
In the leg. In the
in the leg, right?
Why does
feet.
James Gunn keep giving his wife all these roles?
She's an actress. Please,
Because no other director does that.
then people need to stop. Right? Then
No,
people
don't
need
you
to-
know that Hollywood has been a cornerstone for only merit? Like there has been no nepotism, no favor giving in Hollywood ever. It's only been on solely talent.
And she had such a big role. It could have gone. It couldn't have gone to anybody else. It had to be her.
She played the most pivotal role.
Right. People need to relax a little bit. Do y'all recognize? Do you know the little girl who's part of the team?
No.
No. Why? What you mean, like the actress or like the character?
The character.
No, I don't know. Who is she?
Phyla.
Lila?
If you look her up, she's a heavy hitter. Which is interesting that they introduced her as a child.
Why are they introducing so many children into the MCU?
Oh.
Young Avengers when? Young
Oh.
Avengers when? That's
Could
the
happen. In the comics, she's the daughter of Marvel, the person who gave Captain Marvel her powers and
How do you
whatnot.
spell her name?
Young Avenger.
Phyla?
Phyly.
P-H.
Phyla. No, I just think it's cool she's here. I don't know if it's just a tease or if we'll actually get to see more of her. She's a powerhouse.
And let's continue dunking on Mid and Thunder. this is how you utilize children correctly in a film, and not just be like, all right, kids, let's get some of my Super Saiyan power and
We're
then
the
go beat
kids
the
in
bad.
America. Whoa.
Oh my gosh, it was fine. Two different films.
No,
It was two different films,
no.
but they had very similar climax, like events in the
Very
climax,
similar
Yes,
climax.
with
yes.
children going
Save the
and
children, save the
helping, you
world.
know.
Like this movie is maybe what Love and Mid could have been.
No, they're not
Like,
the same.
like
You're right. They're not. One's better.
one,
no,
right.
they're not the
like,
same.
how
You're
to-
right, I
how to
know.
treat a bit like
We're
how
not
to
saying
treat a
it's
villain
Superior
right,
to the other.
how to treat like a character, like the characters right and their growth, and also like how to incorporate child actors or child characters into a movie in a
No
in a
floating head.
The children were not the
Oh.
problem.
no,
in
no,
one.
I am not saying like
You could say they were an element.
Grandmaster. I am not saying that the kids are the problem in Love and Mid. I'm saying that the idea of the person behind and how they put those kids in the movie is the problem. The kids themselves have no fault. It's the one on the chair, the director on the chair, Taika Waititi, whatever. He is the one at fault.
You're
Listen,
allowed to have one bad movie.
again, two different kind of franchises as far as, again, James Gunn's been at the helm.
Consume your MCU.
Wait, you said
product.
something. James Gunn at the helm. I'm just gonna say, this movie, this trilogy, is gonna give you a glimpse of the Gunverse.
No, it's not. It's Guardians of the Galaxy. It has nothing to do.
I'm saying the Gunverse.
It's not a
James
glimpse.
Gunn may not have
The-
missed, but I don't trust him making
It's not-
movies.
I
don't
didn't
trust
say I
him.
didn't trust him. I just said just because he hasn't missed doesn't mean he can't.
He's
That's-
making a DC product. I don't trust him.
Listen, that's not what I said. What I said was I'm not putting all my
You're
chips in for
internalizing a lot of
James
this
Gunn.
personally.
I'm not putting all my chips in. Again, two different things. Guardians versus Superman, two different
I
things.
don't know. He's
I'm gonna let that film speak for itself. I'm
You're
not gonna
still
sit
gonna-
here.
You're still
I'm not gonna sit
knock
here
it
and
off.
say it's gonna be great. I'm not gonna sit here and do that. That's giving them too much
The only
power.
really take us to the Suicide Squad, and that's about it.
Right.
Peacemaker.
he's also made
Peacemaker
Peacemaker.
as
He also
well.
made Peacemaker.
It's fine. He did right. Oh, and again, but I did not sit there and say Peacemaker's gonna be great. I did not do that.
And it
And
was great.
It was great.
Fine, right? That's okay. You can sit there and say after the fact, but
Look how the
I'm not-
MCU has damaged you.
it
You can't
hasn't.
even go in expecting greatness from people that have a clean track
I told
record.
you I don't put any expectations anymore.
You saw
tell you what,
Winter Soldier,
the
and you
only-
said the Russo brothers. If I see them again, I'm hyped. So when you saw them
no.
for Civil War, you're like, Civil War is gonna be hyped. Infinity War is gonna be
Look,
hyped.
you wanted him to
Mhm.
strike out. I'll tell you where.
I
he
don't.
struck
I
out.
don't need him. You don't need to give
it's
me
okay.
a strikeout.
Just listen. Just listen.
I know.
Look
I
here.
want
He
to.
Look here.
directed.
I rather talk about what our final scores and
Wait, but I need to say
whatnot.
this. He directed movie 43, segment Beazle.
everybody
That was
directed
his
movie
strikeout. There we
43.
go.
Everybody
that
directed
is.
movie 43. That's everybody. Everybody took a big L if they were a part of that project.
That was his big L.
Whoever did the Hugh Jackman Ball-Chinian one, it took the biggest L. If you know, you know.
Brightburn.
Who?
No, Brightburn, but he didn't direct that. He was a producer. Brightburn,
you-
the Superman evil what if thing.
Correct. Yeah,
Superman.
I've heard of it. I didn't
Oh,
watch it.
Superman.
Superman.
Oh. All right. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Let's wrap this baby up nicely. I mean, we only had 2 entries in Phase 5. What are you ranking it? How you ranking it? 5-star, A through F? Where you
Scale of
putting
1 to
this?
10. It's a
Scale of
solid
1 to
9.
10. Solid 9.
Solid 9. There were some elements and we kind of talked about it a little bit, like, you know, the Adam Warlock stuff felt a little undercooked, even though that was okay because he wasn't the main focus. It's still a noticeable dent in the movie with how they utilized him, but I mean, the lowest I could see this for me personally is a 9. I may even give it a 9.5. This movie got me twice with the tears, and I think even Nino looked over. I think he was trying to say something at
I was
one
trying
point.
to be funny, and I was like, "Oh."
And he stopped. He's like, "Oh no, Dr. Chase is having a moment." There were 2 scenes that got me. I forgot what the second one was. The first one was that rocket scene with Lila in that heaven-esque like zone that they were in. That was fantastic. That got me. That hit. I can't remember the second one. But there was a
For
second
me,
part.
it was the scene when like, Lila, Tease, and Floor like are killed and all that. That scene for me like hit me really hard.
Yeah.
And the heaven scene is also got me. But I give this movie, I would say like 8.5, more leaning towards a 9. And yeah, like my biggest gripe was Adam Warlock. But again, I'm pretty sure going forward in the MCU, he's a force to be reckoned with in the comics. And I don't doubt he's gonna be a force to be reckoned with, like in the MCU. So yeah, but in the movie at least, they kind of play with my expectations after that first scene.
I think personally go with the 8.7. I think right in the middle between both doctors over here. I loved it. I think it was great. I think it's probably one of the best movies so far in this phase. And I'm excited to see where these characters go. Very emotional though. I don't know about y'all, but the scene of Peter finally seeing his grandpa kind of got me too.
Oh yeah, that was really touching.
Oh, that was
That scene kind of got me too. So very emotional movie, and I was here for it.
Nino.
What did you rate Quantumania?
An 8.
An 8.
An
Yeah.
8? I'll give it a 7.5 then, because Quantumania is I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
You're fine. You can rank however you want. It's your life.
I don't know. I think I'm my gut's telling me 8.5, but it's like closer to a 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I don't know.
I feel you. That's like me, like 8.5 to 9, but leaning more towards the 9.
Yeah.
Give it the 9.
It's definitely a movie that I will want to see again, and a lot of MCU films I don't necessarily want to ever see again. Like I'm fine with never seeing them again. This movie is definitely, I would want to see it again. You know, I would definitely want to like put it on and enjoy it for what it is. I think one of the scenes that got me was just the ending goodbye with everybody. That was just great.
That was nice.
Yeah, definitely nice.
It really was like, it really did. Even though it is a goodbye, that scene felt more like this is not a goodbye. This is like a see you later.
Yes.
But I don't know when that's going to be.
And that's okay.
Patience is a virtue.
I feel like I'm going to be, again, I mean, this conversation has helped me frame where I'm at with the film, which is, again, it was a good film, but I'm still a little like hesitant in the sense of like, I just feel like I liked a lot more of the character development happening in 2 more. And this just felt like so emotionally, like there's just like so much in this film. It was hard to like process. A lot of almost like trauma porn to some degree, right? In the context of just like a lot of just like, you know, us just like getting this like good feelings from watching people's like trauma, which again, like I just, you know, I have, you know, some like reservations about. But again, I mean, I feel like it's, you know, it's a good, what I'll say is like, it's a good resolution for this team of people and whatnot. So I'm in the realm of saying like, you know, I was thinking about saying 7 at the start of this. This conversation has changed a little bit where I'm at. I'll say it's an 8.
Fair enough. I'm actually kind of with the same sentiments with Ange, as far as I think in the earlier films, we get a lot of quieter moments and slower moments with everybody. This film definitely was very boom, 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 boom. However, I do feel it really worked for me. I really enjoyed this outing with the. I actually, yeah, no, I think it's probably my favorite outing with them. I think it's a 9. I think it's a 9. I think the emotional highs were there. I've been waiting for the money shot with the Guardians, because the comic Guardians are like here, and the movie Guardians have always been like here. And in that hallway scene, that did it. We finally got. I finally thought, there goes Drax the Destroyer. There he is. There goes badass Gamora with the sword. There she is. I've been waiting for that. And that scene made me, I was like, wow, thank you. It felt like a conclusion. As a concluding film, this felt like it wrapped it up very nicely, left us with something to look forward to. A soft goodbye for some, hard goodbye for others, a see you later for most. Yeah, I think it was and again, it's weird to have a conclusion as the second film in a phase, but here we are. Yeah, I think I'm a 9. I'm a 9. I'd definitely go watch this one again. I think this one was a lot of fun. Despite all the, who would have thought you would have been crying for a raccoon? But they did it. They done did it.
So
we'll
only
probably
1 point higher than Quantumania.
Sure, yeah.
I knew that comment was coming.
I mean, it's a 9 and an 8 are very different. So, and again, I didn't know we all had to be the same.
No. I just wanted to ask. I wanted to pick your brain a little bit.
I mean, you keep harping on Quantumania.
It was the only other Marvel movie this year.
No.
It's the first film of Phase 5.
You liked Bo is Afraid less than Quantumania? 2 films have nothing to do with each other. So
this is MCU territory. It's gonna.
Oh, I forgot Bo is Afraid is in MCU. Sure.
Who mentioned Bo is Afraid? Except
No one
I'm talking
mentioned
about
it here.
Quantumania comes up in every
Stay
conversation.
focused. Stay
It
focused.
does not have to be
We're in MCU.
I know we're in MCU. I know. Trust.
So,
But any final words? Any final words on Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
Swan
anything?
song for James Gunn. Fantastic way to exit the MCU as he takes the reins for the DCU from here on out.
The
The
Gunverse.
Gunverse. He hasn't missed yet.
No, he did miss with movie 43.
That
Within the
doesn't
last
count.
10 years. Within the last 10 years.
Everybody knew they were gonna miss with that movie.
And Guardians came out after movie 43 too. I think it's in good hands. I think the DCU is in good hands. I can't wait to see what James Gunn does next. Fantastic swan song to Guardians, but for me, it's I think it's the best one out of the 3.
And
Guardians.
I really hope that they're not gonna have like James Gunn in the Marvel universe, and each director can add their flair, their artistry, their style to their movies, right? But let the MCU learn of how to treat their characters as from James Gunn, because James Gunn really cared for those characters, really wanted them to develop them and portray them in a very creative, emotional, and really satisfying way. And I hope that the MCU learns about this, because we don't want just movies for the hell of it. We want movies to have fun with, but we also want movies like these that are rich to a certain degree.
Not mindless.
Just like Nicole
consumption.
Kidman says, in a place like this, something feels like something.
No, it's like heartbreak.
Great job.
Heartbreak feels good again.
Heartbreak
feels good in a place like this.
Place like this.
There we go.
Goodness.
Thank you for completing my line. I started it, you completed it. Thank
I
you.
love that Nicole Kidman bit. So
It's a lot better than whatever the hell Regal has.
it's not a purse, it's a satchel.
He just
It's up with us.
You sit on a throne of
God.
lies.
Much better than than anything Quantum Mania dished out.
You see what I mean? Bringing
Why'd
it up
you have
for
to
no
praise
reason.
Quantum Mania, man? Dr. Mondo's never gonna let
I
it
didn't
live
praise it.
down.
I critiqued it fairly, but I still enjoyed the film. Either way, James Gunn took the Guardians of the Galaxy, who were relatively a no-name group entity from Marvel. They are now a household name.
they have a Disney ride.
They have,
have
two
a
Disney,
Disney
rides.
ride.
They have two Disney rides. That's a
James Gunn,
feat.
you would not have that.
That's a feat. That's a feat. That's something to be definitely regarded for. So James Gunn, shout out to him. Clapping up for him, clapping up for Zoe and Dave. This is really it for them. Also really enjoy the portrayals. But yeah, man, I think Guardians going down in history. No doubt. Without further ado, folks, that is it from us here at the Yonko Table covering Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Thank you for listening, and go watch this film. Shoot, we didn't go into too much spoilers, but go check it out. Come back and listen to us, or hopefully you listen or watch the movie before you listen to this, because yeah. So thank you for listening on your various podcast stations. Thank you for following us on all social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Make sure you follow Dr. Jace on Twitch and everything. And yeah, if you want to join some of the discourse you hear on here, join our Discord. We'll talk to you. We'll duke it out with you. But without further ado, that's it from us here at the table. I am your Yonko host, Grandmaster Hoop, fellow Yonko, Dr. Jace Attorney. Supernovas, Dr. Mondo, Frisco, Tangelo, and Nino Desposado. How shall we close this out? Shall we sing our favorite Guardians track?
We close this out by you pressing that button to end that meeting.
Hey,
Hey.
what the matter with the dining? Come on, everybody. Come and get your love. Reasons.